Welcome to this tour of the St. Paul's School campus. I'm really excited to show you around, so welcome to St. Paul's. Right now we're approaching the Friedman Community Center, and this is a cool building because it used to be an art gallery. So the exterior fits in with the beautiful red brick buildings of St. Paul's, but the inside is a really cool modern spot for students to hang out. And it's not so much a study spot for students, more so for groups of kids to gather together, have a little bit of a break, eat some food, things like that. So it's a really cool spot for students. Now we're heading into Ostrom Library, which is actually one of my favorite buildings on campus. I would usually come here most nights between the hours of 7:30 to 9 p.m. to get my work done because I usually like to separate my room space from my study space, and a lot of students do choose to do that as well. I will mention that St. Paul students do have quite a bit of homework, but you're usually able to get it done within that time period. There's also an optional study hall if you are someone who really needs that quiet and someone watching over you to make sure you're getting that work done. But otherwise, students can choose to use Ostrom Library as often as they'd like to during the day and the night. So along this path, I would like to point out Clark House right here, which is our health center, and that's where students go when they're sick or they need to pick up medications of any sort. And we have a medical director who's on call 24 hours of the day, but if he's not actually in Clark House, we will always have a nurse on duty. So if you're ever feeling sick, then you can go right over there and they will help you out. And then as we keep going along this way, here's the old chapel. And back when the school was first founded, there weren't many students, and so they would hold all of their chapel meetings right there. But as the school grew, they obviously needed to accommodate more and more students and faculty, and so we moved those chapel services into this beautiful building over here. Welcome to the Chapel of St. Peter and St. Paul. So this is where chapel services are held, which are 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for about half an hour between 8:30 and 9 a.m. And chapel isn't necessarily a religious service, although we do try to incorporate different hymns and prayers. We bring in a lot of different ideas and speakers who bring a lot of thought to the table. And it also gives students a chance to talk about their clubs and give announcements, and we'll hear about things that are happening during the day. And I love chapel because it's a chance for the entire community to be gathered together, and it's a great way to start off your day. Behind me is Schoolhouse, where all of our humanities and languages classes are held. For languages, we offer French, Spanish, German, Latin, Greek, and Mandarin. I took French and absolutely loved it. I loved it so much after my first 2 years that I decided to take a year and study abroad in France for my junior year. The classes are small and the teachers are really inspirational, so I really recommend that students delve as far deep into those language programs as they can. And the humanities are equally as incredible, and they're all set up around a Harkness table, which is just a round table where the students and the teachers sit together. But instead of the teachers standing up and lecturing at the students, it's a discussion, and so students are recommended to engage and critically think. And I think that's a really integral part to what St. Paul's is all about in terms of thinking and community. Right here is the Lindsay Center, and this is where all of the science and math classes are held. Our math track at St. Paul's usually begins with geometry, and then we go to Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Pre-Calc, and Calculus. For me, math was definitely not my strongest point, but especially after my pre-calculus class, I learned to see the world through a mathematical lens, and I learned to appreciate the subject for what it was, not just looking at numbers, but really being able to problem solve and put that together. Every student is required to get to a certain level of science, so usually it goes physics, chemistry, biology. The sciences are really interesting because it's a very hands-on approach. I didn't really consider myself much of a science student coming into St. Paul's, but because it was so engaging, I really learned that I loved the biological and chemical and physical world, because the classrooms are structured in such a way that there is the classroom section where the teacher gives their lecture, you take notes, but then you can move over into the lab section where you actually are able to experience what you're learning. There are any number of really interesting things that built up my love for science, and I loved every part of this building. It's really innovative in every way possible. Right here is the St. Paul's Fine Arts Building. So every student is required to take a full year of some art, and if you choose that as fine arts, then this is where you would take it. So we have your classic drawing, painting, photography, but if you want to explore different types of fine arts, then we also have things like ceramics or glass blowing or sculpture classes. So anything you're interested, you can basically explore here. And I've really seen students flourish in the fine arts and fulfill potential that they didn't even know they had, and that's mostly due to our really fantastic art teachers. In terms of art, we also have music and dance programs. So for music, you can choose to do non-credit lessons or lessons for credit, and students also often choose to be part of the orchestra or ensemble, and they will perform throughout the year ceremonies which are really beautiful, and the whole school enjoys hearing them play. And we also have an incredible dance program. So we have the BC, which is a ballet company, and those students are doing dance as their athletic as well as a class, and they do a really great job of integrating their dance education as well as their academic education. The ballet company and the dance classes perform multiple times throughout each term, but you can also choose to do dance as your art. St. Paul's also has a really strong theater program. You can choose theater as your art, so you could take it as a class. And we also have 3 performances during the year. 2 are produced by teachers, and the one in the spring is produced by 6th formers or students who are in the production class. And they're really incredible performances. I've seen some really amazing actors and actresses come through St. Paul's. This is the Crumpacker Art Gallery, where there's a beautiful space inside that showcases different exhibits that are either student or teacher or from an outside artist, and that work is displayed for a certain amount of time, and students can come in and view that work and be really proud of what they produced or the teachers produced or learn from those other artists. This is the St. Paul's Athletic and Fitness Center. It has a full-size pool, multiple gyms where there are basketball courts that double as volleyball courts. There's also a wrestling room, a cardio room that has a weight room attached, and we also have brand new indoor rowing tanks, which are really cool and the rowers absolutely love. And we also have indoor tennis courts, so basically anything you could possibly need athletically. In addition to the ASC, the campus holds a variety of athletic spaces, including a boathouse, 2 ice rinks, 10 squash courts, 9 athletic fields, outdoor tennis courts, a lit turf field, a full-size track, a football stadium, and finally an extensive trail system for cross-country running and Nordic skiing. St. Paul's is one of the few schools who has 100% boarding, and so dorm life is a really important part of that. And so our dorms are set up pretty in a different way than most schools, because we have all different years in one dorm. So a 3rd former could live next to a 4th former or a 6th former or anybody from any grade. And I really love that because it allowed me to interact with students who I probably wouldn't have otherwise met. And so the older students gave me really great advice in terms of academics or social or sports, and so I loved having that rapport between all of the other students, and it made it feel more like a community. Starting out, 3rd formers are usually placed randomly within one of the 19 dorms across campus. So we have 9 male dorms, 9 female dorms, and 1 all-gender dorm that students can apply into. Another integral part of the St. Paul's school life is its faculty. So faculty are more than just teachers, they're also your advisors or your coaches, and you'll see them in the dorm because often their houses are attached to your dorms and they'll come in at night and maybe bring in their kids or their pets and you can interact with them in that way. And I really loved that part of St. Paul's because you built these relationships where you weren't just a student, but you were also an athlete or an artist or any other thing, and you can learn how to joke with them and see them in their full lives and have that connection that really lasts all throughout your time here, and I found really lasts even when you leave St. Paul. So I really love that part, and I think that's an important part of the St. Paul school community. On behalf of the entire admissions office, I'd like to thank you for joining me on this virtual tour of St. Paul's. We're sure you have lots of questions at this stage, so if you haven't already, please fill out the inquiry form on our website and schedule an interview with us. We would love to answer all your questions and learn more about you. I hope you enjoyed this tour, and we're looking forward to hearing from you soon.